declare the Robinson Superior Treaty Territory, and that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Anispec and the Métis. Any additions, deletions, or amendments to the agenda? Hearing none, moving on. Disclosure of interest. We have two. Councillor Johnson declares a pecuniary interest over the discussion on committee vacancies because his wife is applying to the library board, and I declare one on payroll because Michelle is a town employee. Okay, adoption of minutes. Moved by Councillor St. Louis, second by Councillor Johnson, resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting held Monday, December 5th, 2022 be amended. And that amendment is
remove your name.
Remove my name. My name was on there, I wasn't present. All in favor? Okay, carried. Second item. Moved by Councillor Johnson, second by Councillor St. Louis, resolved that the minutes from the special council meeting held on Wednesday, December 7th, 2022 be approved as presented. Any discussion on that? In favor? Opposed? Carried. Reports from administration. CAO clerk. All yours, John.
We just skip the first item and move on to the second one. We'll come back to the first one.
Okay.
JLR is having some trouble logging in.
So, okay.
Not sure what's going on there. So anyway, with respect to the updates to the Township of Terrace Bay Emergency Plan. So administration is recommending option A that council approve the proposed amendments to the emergency management plan. The appropriate bylaw will be brought forward. With respect to background on that issue, I'm not going to go through everything. We kind of went through it in depth on last week when we had the emergency management exercise. The last major update to the plan was in 2015, and that was where we really revamped the document a lot. And then in 2019 saw some further changes due to changes to legislation. So the MECG is required to do annual training. They're also required to do an annual practice exercise, and they also make recommendations for changes to the plan. The EMPC, or Emergency Management Program Committee, actually reviews the entire emergency management program. So the exercise, the training, the HIRA, or hazard risk identification, the critical infrastructure of the township, and they also review I said the plan already, sorry, the public education program. So we met on December 15th to fulfill the annual requirements. A tabletop exercise was conducted, followed by a short quiz and debrief for the participants. Next, the MPC reviewed that program, as I just said. One of the items that was highlighted during the discussion was a lack of backup power to virtually all township facilities except the water treatment plant. So this would be critical if there was a prolonged power outage during the winter and being able to provide a warming center shelter for local residents. While the plan does outline courses of action such as evacuation describer, we will be researching options for backup power in 2023 and hopefully bringing forward either grant applications or a plan. Minimal changes were made to the plan again, consisting mainly of changes to phone numbers and personnel on the call schedule. However, the recommendation is the plan to be adopted by new council. Moving forward, the bylaw includes authorization for the CAO clerk to make these minimal changes into the call schedule from time to time as necessary. Financial implications not at this time. Obviously, if we do find generator or some research, we'll bring back to budget. So the options are the council approve the proposed amendments to the emergency management plan and the appropriate bylaw brought forward, or B, not approve the amendments and direct administration otherwise. Again, as I said at the beginning, administration is recommending option.
Any questions of John? No.
I did.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor moved by Councillor St. Louis, seconded by Councillor Johnson. Resolved that council approve the proposed amendments to the emergency management plan and that the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. All in favor? Opposed? None? Carried. Okay, on.
Yeah. Go back to A if you don't mind, your worship.
Okay. So we're back to A, the hydro-based subdivision change to the draft approval condition.
Hi, Aaron, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. I, for whatever reason, can't seem to turn my camera on. Anyway, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me this evening. I'm just here to briefly go over our request to update the conditions for draft approval for the Hydro Bay subdivision. So this is the subdivision previously come to council to approve 16 new lots for residential development. There's also going to be 3 blocks for open space and 2 private roads. Today we're speaking specifically with regards to condition number 9, which has to do with the hydrogeological assessment. As it currently stands, the condition 9 just is specific with respect to having the applicant and their professionals that they retain delineate the septic location, as well as the quantity and quality of the imported sand, silts, and soils that are going to be required for the installation of the private septic systems. And we are just asking that for clarity purposes that this condition be amended to include that the hydrogeological assessment also complete an analysis on private wells for water quality and quantity as per the applicable provincial standards. So under the MOE D5 series, this is required, but it wasn't explicitly stated in the condition, and there's just been some back and forth with the consultants, and we are all in agreement that this is required for their subdivision, and we just want, again, for clarity and transparency purposes, to have that reflected in condition number 9. So we, in the memo provided, we have included what we recommend that the wording be updated to. So with that, I can answer any questions that you may have at this time.
Any questions from council?
No.
No questions from us, Aaron?
Great.
Okay, we can proceed with the resolution, and thank you very much, Aaron.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, we have the motion moved by Councillor St. Louis, second by Councillor Johnson, resolve that council approve. Whereas the council for the township of Terrace Bay gave draft approval for the plan of subdivision on those lands described as part of PCL 26553 SEC PBF, part of location SV 455 and location JK 302, geographic township of Frisk, Terrace Bay on August 2nd, 2022. And where as council deems it appropriate to amend the conditions of the draft approval as outlined in the memo entitled Hydro Bay Subdivision, change the draft approval condition 9 submitted by J.L. Richards and Associates Limited, provided at the December 19th, 2022 council meeting. Now, therefore, it is resolved that the council of the corporation of the township of Terrace Bay 1 amends condition 9 to state the following: that a detailed hydrogeological assessment that delineates the septic locations and the quantity and quality of imported sand, silt, soil required for private septic systems be completed by a qualified individual to the satisfaction of the township of Terrace Bay, and that such detailed hydrogeological assessment include an analysis on private wells for water quality and quantity as per the applicable provincial standards. Any questions on the motion? No? All in favor? Opposed? None? Okay, carried. Okay, next item of business is 2022 committee vacancies. Yeah, you?
Yep, everybody. So what we did was we did share a list with council last week. There were a couple of latecomers as well, which we added in January, shared the list with you via email. So we prepared a series of resolutions to that effect. The ones that right now, unless council changes their mind, are have a blank are the library board and the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence committee's initiative, and the community safety and well-being committees. So we have a series of resolutions appointing council and members of the public. Then we have a separate set for some of the ones that council we did on December 5th. So yeah, it's gonna be a little wonky, but Library board's up first. There is a decision to be made. There are 3 names there. Gail Johnson, Cassidy Dubé, and Barb Grammatowski it's a 5-member board currently. So there would need to be a vote on one of those 3 going forward as the one blank. I mean, all of them are up for discussion. The recommendation from the head librarian was that we at least bring back the members that are currently on the committee as they have experience, and they've all resubmitted their names as well. So.
Okay, the motion is moved by Councillor Johnson, seconded by Councillor St. Louis. Resolved that council approve the appointments of Chris Dubé, council rep, Mike Moore, Jay Cater, and Deanna Carpenter to the Terrace Bay Public Library Board, and we need one more name. Unless, like John said, we want to change any of those 3 names.
I don't know what the process is, but were those people currently on the board recontacted, or is it just carryover because it's a board versus a committee?
Well, I can answer that. They definitely all of them put their names back in.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
here we are. For sure.
We have to pick one more.
One more.
So it's between Gail Johnson, Cassidy Dubé, and Barb Grammatowski, right?
Correct.
Bert can't say anything because Gail is.
Well, then obviously I need to be aware of how to fill this out before, as well as I obviously have a conflict of interest.
Great. We'll get you set up.
Please,
Can you have another form here?
Yeah, right there.
thank you.
Sorry, I thought you.
No,
you filled one out.
so do I approach you before the meeting begins?
Fine.
Okay, I'm just trying to get it in the swing.
Nice.
My contribution to the discussion would be, I appreciate our current library CEO position of having incumbents come back, but at the same time, it's an opportunity for us to say, hey, here's some of the people that want to get involved. Is that up for discussion, or is it?
Yeah,
absolutely. So that's all great names, like hands down. So I think whatever candidates end up on we'll have a great library board, but I just wonder, as we always talk about recruiting new people, here's an opportunity for us to say, hey, maybe this is the time to put the thing together.
Well, I can say the last person on this list could basically everyone. He came on in the last year, I guess.
I guess.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
No, it's,
Yeah, I love it.
Rick,
I think I'd like to put forward Barb Grammatowski thing.
Harry,
I don't know her, so I can, if there's any sort of background available, that'd be appreciated.
Well, she was a former resident. She grew up here, and then she went to college or university, and became a teacher, and then moved away to Dryden, did her whole work life in Dryden, and then she returned home. She's been home a few years.
she was on the Sports Hall of Fame committee, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I just think she'd be a good fit. Her background in education and everything else. It's my thought.
Well, let's do that. Like you said, all good names, so it's a tough decision for me, but I appreciate that perspective, so I'd be in favor.
Okay, I'll pencil her in and go for it. So I'll move by Bert, by Councillor Johnson, second by Councillor St. Louis. Resolve that council approve the appointments of Chris Dubé, Mike Moore, Jay Keeter, Deanna Carpenter, and Barb Grammatowski to the Terrace Bay Public Library Board. In favor? Opposed? Okay, carried. Okay, next one, moved by Councillor St. Louis, second by Councillor Johnson. Resolve the council approve the appointment of myself as council rep and Teresa Roberts to the Terrace Bay Police Services Board. Teresa's been on there for 4 years now.
Yeah.
I think 2 or 3 people applied 4 years ago, and she was picked. For I'm not sure if you know Gary, she is a retired nurse. She's on, can't remember, she's on a couple, something to do with the health board or something to do with health anyway, so. um, Anyways,
Just two on it?
well, that's the other thing. I know there's a number of people that put their name down. And when I was talking to John about it, we do have a provincial rep position open. And that's been open since they didn't renew Forrest Progger's appointment to the board. So we advertised that, I don't know, 2 years ago or whatever. More than once. It was on the Treasury website, and you have to apply to provincial government to be appointed. And there is a process. It isn't like this. Well, we'll pick someone. There is a process that they go through. And I looked online there a couple of days ago, and there are a lot of provincial appointees positions that are open in the province, and that's part of the course, I guess. The government is slow appointing them unless no one has applied. Marathon hasn't had anyone for years, but anyways, with that being said, the composition of the board is going to change, and it's supposed to change in the spring. And what we applied to when we had our meeting with the Solicitor General, we asked them to have a combined board with Scriber. Terrace is the only town that has a board in the Nipigon detachment. What the Solicitor General was proposing was one board for the Nipigon detachment. It'd be like 11 or 12 people on the board, Dorian, Red Rock, Nipigon, whatever. Right? So anyways, when we talked to them and the sergeants on the Nipigon agreed, Scriber, Terrace Bay have different issues than Nipigon, Red Rock, Dorian. So we asked for 2 separate boards, and that was, I don't know, almost 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago anyways, and we haven't heard back, and apparently they're supposed to give us an answer by the spring, so anyway. And the reason I like to keep Terrace on board is because she does have some experience with it, and it's going to change according to the Community Safety and Wellbeing Act. You're going to have to, do webinars, training, and all that other stuff too, right? So, anyway, that's where I stand. So, anyways, I'll read the motion here again. Resolved or moved by Councillor St. Louis, second by Councillor Johnson. Resolved that council approve the appointment of myself and Teresa Roberts to the Terrace Bay Food Services Board. In favor? Opposed? None? It carried. Next one is, this one's pretty straightforward. Moved by Councillor Johnson, second by Councillor St. Louis, resolved that the council approve the appointments of Councillor Aduno, Forrest Progger, Joyce Gilmore, Emily Gilbert, Bill Webb, Gillian Veneziano, and Jody Davis to the Community Development Committee. I didn't count how many names that was. I think we usually have 8 or 10 are supposed to be on that board.
So I said you could have up to 12 on
Yeah,
that.
so anyway,
We're halfway there.
there's openings there.
I'll show up there.
Anyways, all in favor? Okay, carried. Next one is for the Waterfront Development Committee. Moved by Councillor St. Louis, seconded by Councillor Johnson. Resolved that council approve the appointments of Councillor Dubé, Forrest Progger, Ariane Folzetta, Kyle Lipinski, Bill Webb, Paul McLean, and Jody Davis to the Waterfront Committee. Any discussion on that? I'm not sure how many people are supposed to be on that board.
I don't think there's a set limit to my knowledge, but there could have been when they developed it, but it's a subcommittee of the community development. We decided to keep it going. So.
Okay. Any discussion on that motion?
Other than it's nice to see the difference of names on that one versus other committees. I think it's a big win for us.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor of that? Carried. The next one, moved by Councillor Johnson, second by Councillor Dubé. Resolved that council approve the appointments of Councillor St. Louis and Horace Progger to the Winterfest Committee. Any discussion on that motion?
You know, historically, how many people have been on this one?
You know what, Gary, it was basically the CDC that ran it anyway, so, you know.
If we're past the discussion, that's fine, but is there a reason why not just give it back to CDC? At this point, there's only one name who's also on the CDC committee.
You know, realistically, we pretty well have it all set up anyways, but. I mean, Rick's there so we can just keep the fires going.
I'm good with that. That's okay.
Okay. Okay. All in favor? Okay, carried. Okay, the next one, moved by Councillor Duno, second by Councillor St. Louis. Resolve that council approve the appointments of myself, Forrest Frogger, Joyce Gilmore, Andrew Grammatulski, and Brian McGinnis to the Sports Hall of Fame Committee. That one there, I think we cut that, it used to be 9, we cut it back to 7. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 5 on it. So there are some openings on that one. Any discussion on this one? Like I say, I mean, if someone puts their name forward, and that it does happen, we can always add them to it. Okay, all in favor? Okay, carried. Next one, resolved by, or moved by Councillor St. Louis, seconded by Councillor Aduno. Resolved that council approve the appointments of Councillor Johnson and Councillor Aduno, Richard Burley, Kyle Lipinski, Sheila McQuinn, Tony McGinnis, and Linda Valentine to the Supportive Housing Committee. Any discussion on this one? I can't remember, we probably had a little more than that last time.
Maybe a little more. Wasn't a huge committee.
It wasn't huge, no.
So it's not to see Carol's name on there again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she got hired because there's no meeting that we could have or.
Well, about a month ago, she was keen on doing it, so I'm surprised to see her name on there. Around, so.
And again, we could add her if she is interested. You're speaking to her.
Yeah.
Send us an email.
Oh, yeah.
No problem. Anybody else as well? If you have somebody else is interested, it's not a hard line here, so we can keep going.
All in favor? Okay, carried. Next one, moved by Councillor St. Louis, seconded by Councillor Dubé. Resolve the council approve the appointments of Councillor St. Louis, Mary Claire Papineau, Gary Turner, Sheila McQuinn, and Brian McGinnis to the Cemetery Committee. Any discussion on this one? I think we had 5 last time, anyone? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, carried. Next one, moved by Councillor Dubé, seconded by Councillor St. Louis. Resolve that council approve the appointments of Councillor Johnson, Helga McKenzie, Roland McQuinn, Mary Claire Papineau, and Kyle Lipinski to the Committee of Adjustment. Any discussion on that one? I think we have 3 on that before?
We've had historically 3 forever on that one. I know council rep typically as well, but it's okay. That works.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, carried.
There is voting there, so the uneven number is a good thing. So
I was gonna say that I kind of against it. Very.
Okay, moved by Councillor St. Louis, second by Councillor Duno. Resolved that council approve the appointments of Councillor Johnson, Helga McKenzie, Roland McQuinn, Mary Claire Papineau to the Property Standards Committee. And I think we only had 3 on that last time. Eh?
correct.
Yeah.
There was no council rep at the last because we formed it halfway
Yeah,
between the
yeah.
council terms. So
Any discussion on that one?
When you formed it last time, that you just made the committee of adjustment the same as the property standard.
correct.
So
Correct.
we're not doing that automatically this time.
No, it still stands. And
There's one left.
Bert is actually on both, so the existing bylaw wouldn't need to be changed there, but voting could become a problem there. We may have to recruit 1 more or figure out some rules for some terms and rules for voting, but we can deal with that when we as we move forward to 2023.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, carried. next one, moved by Councillor Duno, seconded by Councillor St. Louis. Resolved that council approve the appointments of council reps to the committees, Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee, myself, and we're looking for one more first, one more councillor. Rick,
Yeah, I'll do it.
all in favor of that? Accessibility Committee, Councillor Johnson, Bylaw and Policy Review, Councillor Duno. Handy Transit, Councillor Duno and St. Louis. Landfill Committee, myself and Councillor St. Louis. National Marine Conservation Authority, Councillor Dubé. District Health Unit, myself. Thunder Bay District Municipal League, Councillor Johnson. Terrace Bay Ski Club, Councillor Dubé. Terrace Bay Seniors, Councillor Johnson. And Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Cities Initiatives, I was gonna sit on that. Okay, everyone okay with that? John Burton?
I was advised by Thunder Bay District Municipal League that I should have an alternate.
Okay. Anyone interested in alternate besides myself? Okay. And Bert looking to be our sit on the NOMA board. I don't know if you want to explain what you were told, Bert.
Well, I was told that they don't have to appoint right now, then. They're looking into whether. I feel that it should be dealt with. We have a municipal league meeting day after tomorrow, and everybody's aware of, there's a position to be filled and that it could be, but I haven't been told yes or no yet whether it's going to be on the agenda. But I was advised that in order for a name to move forward, that a motion would have to be passed ahead of time by the council that the rep comes from, that they cover the expenses. We covered the expenses for Jody when he was on the NOMA board. So
can we put a motion on the floor at this meeting, John, or we?
You could do it, is it right away, or can we do it in the very first meeting of January, or?
it has to be there ahead of time, so that if they decide to deal with it day after tomorrow,
Okay.
they couldn't move any name forward that doesn't have that approval.
Do you have a mic on here?
No, here, I got
Here. We'll do that motion after we've done this one.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So there's no more discussion on these committees here, whatever's on, okay.
Just a quick question, so these are committees that people did not put names forward, or we didn't normally have?
We've advertised for all of them, we've only put the names forward, that applied.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do some advertising for sure for all of them, yeah.
This is for this motion I just read about the council appointments.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's right.
yeah.
But to Gary's point,
Yeah.
there are a couple there that might require some public participation.
So all in favor of what I just read, your appointments for council? Okay, thank you. Very,
You would put your name as the alternate then?
yeah, I did, yeah.
Yes.
Handy transit, Rick, we should live our day in a wheelchair. Experience it from that perspective. Accessibility, more.
Have a handy transit. Yeah, we have it. I don't can do that.
Okay, we're gonna talk, or want to move
I'll be there.
here for Bert to be our normal rep. Mover and seconder.
There,
She'll write it down.
oh, she's got it right down. Okay. Oh, someone can wordsmith it.
Essentially, we're gonna to nominate you to the board, or I guess that's essentially the motion.
Yeah, Jody was on the board for 4 years.
Yeah.
He was our rep.
If I'm elected to the board,
Sure, yeah.
that that's it. It's up to all the municipalities. Yeah, it has to be done at the moment. Has to be done at municipal league first. Okay. And then we confirm that with that. Next meeting is day after tomorrow. General there from well, the AGM for it's March 23rd, 24th.
Okay, here we go. Moved by Councillor Dubé, second by Councillor St. Louis, resolve the council appoint Councillor Johnson to the NOMA board and that any applicable expenses be paid as per township policy, council travel, hotels, whatever.
Clarification, it was moved by Councilor Duno, RGB, or I'm writing that bad.
Because you guys, I saw what I was. You get your check boxes.
Hey, you're just gonna have to put a straight line.
Any discussion on that? All in favor? There. Okay, next item of business, finance, borrowing bylaw, Danny?
Thank you, Your Worship. Attached is the borrowing bylaw agreement with CIBC outlining and authorizing borrowing money. This money will be used in the current expenditures for the 2023 year if required. Administration does not pursue the use of these borrowed monies, so therefore there are no financial implications at this time. Options are A, that council accept the borrowing bylaw agreement with CIBC and that the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. Or B, that council does not approve the borrowing bylaw agreement with CIBC and direct administration otherwise. The recommendation is option A.
Any questions? I have one, Danny. Like, since we're with BMO, like, I know before you've had problems with CIBC and all that other stuff, did we ever look at BMO for, what we're doing here with CIBC?
Well, this is just the overdraft on their account.
Oh,
We
okay,
would have to switch everything over. All this is an $800,000 overdraft. So that if, I mean, obviously, if you're going into overdraft, it's an
Yeah.
emergency, and you don't
Yeah.
have to call a meeting just to go in there, so
okay,
it's all it is.
okay. Any other questions? Okay. Moved by Councillor St. Louis, second by Councillor Junior, resolve that council accept the borrowing bylaw agreement with CIBC and that the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. All in favor? Opposed, none, carried. Okay, next item, municipal insurance.
Administration working with our insurance broker, obtained a quote from March for the 2023 municipal insurance. The overall increase over last year's policy is 11%. This is down from the 2020 to 2021 increase of 14% and the 2019 to 2020 increase of 32%. Current increase is made up of 15% increase on blanket property insurance as well as umbrella coverage excess layers 1 and 2. This is the general insurance that covers municipal errors, omissions, and accidental pollution, and other items of that nature. There's a 3% inflationary increase on the automobile coverage, as well as an 8% inflationary increase on the property coverage. After carefully reviewing the policy, administration is comfortable proceeding with the offer. Total premium increase over last year amounts to $11,980, for a total 2023 premium cost of $122,835. Options are A, that council approve the 2023 Marsh insurance policy in the amount of $122,835. Or B, that council does not approve the 2023 Marsh insurance policy in the amount of $122,835 and recommendation is option
Any questions?
What are the administration not comfortable with?
Much more than that. I mean, it's the industry standard, we've been seeing it for a few years now, and I think the last decrease in insurance was 2017. Somewhere around there, everybody's seeing, I mean, there's a treasurers all complaining about it, and nothing we can do basically.
And Danny, there's not too many companies that will insure municipalities either, right?
Who I believe right now, John?
I think there's 3 or 4, but the last time we went to market. Only one wanted to provide a quote for us. The other, one of the other vendors actually just said we're not interested for insurance. So yeah, there's only, I think, 3 or 4 companies in Canada that actually don't have capacity to provide municipal insurance. Intact, which is formerly Frank Cowan, and Marsh, which is formerly JLT, are the 2 of the ones that our broker deals with. AON is their own company, they write their own insurance, and BFL is still out there, I think, but they may have been gobbled up by somebody else as well, so. That's basically it, nobody else, to my knowledge, writes municipal insurance in Canada.
The only other question I had was with the acquisition of the community church building, is that property included in this vote as well, or is that gonna get adjusted?
It will be adjusted.
No other questions? Okay, all in favor of that motion? Okay, carried. Outstanding. Public Works, Brian. Landfill tipping fees.
Mayor. In previous years, council has approved a temporary waiver of tipping fees for household garbage brought by residents to the landfill site during the Christmas holidays. Administration is recommending that this practice continues. If approved by council, we would request the township subscriber to pass a similar resolution for the resident. Financial implications, there would be a small amount of lost revenue at the landfill site. The options are the council approves the waiver of landfill tipping fees for the period of December 28th to December 31st inclusive during normal hours of operation for the household garbage only. Or B, that council leave tipping fees in place. The recommendation is the council approve the waiver of landfill tipping fees for the period of December 28th to the 31st inclusive during normal operation. Hours of operation for household garbage.
So by household garbage, someone couldn't bring a fridge there, right? You'd have to pay for that.
Yes, yeah.
Any questions?
That would also just exclude Christmas trees, I assume as well.
You could bring your Christmas tree day, yeah.
John?
Just know we don't actually ask Scriber to pass a resolution, we don't need to. If their residents are offered this for the fair holiday, just as ours are, so. Treatment is equal at the gate, so.
Any other questions? Okay, moved by Councillor Dubé, second by Councillor St. Louis, resolve that council approve landfill tipping fees to be waived from December 20, it says 28th here, that's 27th here.
Recommendation is 28.
Yeah, that's 27th on this motion.
27th, the landfill's closed. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
27th for 2 days, so.
From December 28th to December 31st, 2022, inclusive during normal hours of operation for household garbage only. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you. Just make it.
Next item, approval of payroll and disbursements. Moved by Councillor Dubé, seconded by Councillor St. Louis, resolve that council approve payroll register for November 2022 pay period 22 and 23 in the amount of $93,835.07. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Okay, carried. Okay, and next item is communication and Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Cities Initiative membership. And this is moved by Councillor Dubé, seconded by Councillor St. Louis, resolved that council approves Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Cities Initiatives 2023 annual membership in the amount of $1,100, and that's US dollars.
No, it's
No,
Canadian.
it's Canadian.
Yeah,
I thought it said US dollars.
no, right here.
Okay.
I'll do Skyline,
Okay,
like that.
okay,
It used to be always US.
okay. Any discussion on that? This is, I think this is year 4 we've been A member?
Longer now.
Longer.
Yeah.
We probably ran this at least 8 years, probably 12.
2014, 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has,
Get up there.
you know, it keeps us in a loop of all kinds of things going on along with our American partners.
Yeah.
This looks really interesting. I know it's all mayors that are, well, at least along the sides here. So,
Yeah, I think it's valuable. I think I would like to stay in this for this term anyway, see.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Okay, carried. Okay. Now, no information items, now we're into bylaws. Moved by Councillor Duno, seconded by Councillor Dubay, resolved that a bylaw to make proposed amendments to the emergency management plan to read a first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and numbered on this 19th day of December 2022. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next one, the bylaw, moved by Councillor Duno, second by Councillor Dubay, resolved that a bylaw to authorize the borrowing of money to meet expenditures of the corporation of the township of Terrace Bay be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and numbered on this 19th day of December 2022. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. No other business? Question period. Any questions online?
Questions from the public online? Going once. Twice. 3 times.
Okay, thank you. Now is our in-camera session, moved by Councillor Juno, seconded by Councillor Dubé. Resolved that council proceed in camera in order to address a matter pertaining to one item under advice that is subject to solicitor client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose to Hydro Bay. And item under advice that is subject to solicitor client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose regarding landfill mediation. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we're now in camera.
We will be, so anybody online, you can rejoin to watch us adjourn at the same link. We'll be a few minutes, so have a good night, everybody.
Yeah.